Hello everyone, welcome to our today's devotion. Today we're going to be sharing from Daniel chapter 3, verse 16 up to verse 18, the three verses. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king Nebuchadnezzar, "We are not in need of an answer to give you concerning this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to rescue us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. But even if he does not, let it be known to you, O king, that we are not going to serve your gods, nor worship the golden statue that you have made." What is the matter in this text? It is a matter of worship, and it is a matter of serving. King Nebuchadnezzar had made a golden statue, and he also had other gods, and he was compelling people that he was ruling over to worship this. So these three gentlemen took a stand. They believed in God, and they believed the God of Isaac, Jacob, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They believed that he was the only God to be worshipped. But when they were brought into captivity into Babylon, they were picked and brought into the king's palace, and they were taught, and they are already in positions of power right here in this chapter. So accusations were made against them that they were not doing what? They were not worshiping the gods of Babylon, but also not bowing to the statue that Nebuchadnezzar had made. So it became so troublesome for them because the king called them to come before him, and the king was very angry for what they were doing. So the king gave them a last chance for them to worship and to bow. And this is where they come and say, "You know what, king? We know you are..." Actually, the king was also telling them that if you don't worship, I'm going to throw you into the furnace. So this is where these guys comes in to take a stand and say, "You know what? We don't have an answer for what concerning this matter. This matter of worship, we don't have an answer to give you." And they were also convinced that even though if it be so, our God whom we serve is able to rescue us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he will rescue us from your hand. They were very much convinced that even though King Nebuchadnezzar is going to throw them into the furnace, God was going to what? To rescue them. But he was not only going to rescue them from the fire, he was also going to rescue them from what? From the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. But they also knew that even though the Lord might not rescue them, they were very much convinced. They were very much convinced that the stand they are taking is a stand for the God they know. They were not going to bow. They were not going to worship. They were not going to serve the gods of Babylon. They were not going to worship this statue that had been made. We see that in verse 18, that we are not going to serve your gods nor worship the golden statue that you have set up. Wow, what a stand. These men stood for what they believed. And we also must take a stand for what we believe. These men, amidst all the accusations, amidst all that was going to happen to them, amidst all the consequences of not worshiping the gods of Babylon, but also bowing to the statue that had been made, they were very much convinced that God, the God of heaven, the creator of heaven, the God who is holy, the God who is all-knowing, the God who is all-powerful, is the God to be worshipped. And they knew that he was going to deliver them from the fire. They knew that he was going to rescue them from the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, who was saying that no one is going to deliver them. This morning, we are learning something great from these men. The men who took a stand for what they believed in God, and they stood for what they knew that was right. Brothers and sisters, if you are going to be watching this devotional, I'm challenging you. Not that I've also been there. I'm also one of, like you, I'm struggling in this. But we are being challenged right from this text that we must take a stand for what we believe. If you believe God is God, then you have to believe him as God. If you believe that God is a deliverer, then you have to believe that if you get into trouble, he's going to deliver you. If you got into a difficult time, he is going to deliver you. If you go on the panel to face the panel, He is going to lead you through it, and you're going to get that job without bribing, without sleeping with that boss, that supervisor, that person who is giving you the job. He is going to be with you at the university, that you are not going to bribe the lecturer, you're not going to sleep with the lecturer so that you may pass the exam, that you may have the marks. No, he's going to deliver you. You must take a stand. And you must say, I believe in God. I know He's going to deliver me. So I am not going to sin against Him. I am going to stand true for what is true. We are in a time that we are required to take a stand for what we believe. Every time when you turn this side, there's something that is compelling you to sin against God. The traffic that are on the road, they are compelling you to sin against God because they want you to pay a bribe. The lecturers, they're everywhere at the workplace, even in our homes, our parents and our relatives, our siblings, they are compelling us to sin against God. Brothers and sisters, we must take a stand for what we believe. And this is what I'm encouraging you in this morning, that we must take a stand. You might be there and you don't believe in God. You are not born again. I'm challenging you this morning. I'm challenging you today to take a stand and believe in God and renounce your sinful ways and turn to God. For we know He is faithful and just, and He will forgive you. This morning, let's be challenged. Let's say we are going to take a stand for what we believe that is true. And we will be pleasing to our Heavenly Father. And we see that from here, these men, God delivered them from the fire. And all we see was a changed whole Babylon, because all turned to God, all believed in God, and the king renounced his God, and the king turned to God. And the change that is going to change your family, our country, our university, your workplace, it is you taking the stand for what you believe. Thank you so much. May God be with you as you take that stand.